Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. And I hope you are not gluten-free because we are talking pasta in San Jose. Should the Sharks trade for David Pastrnak? What would they be getting in David Pastrnak? And what would it cost them? All that and more on today's Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young. Thank you guys for making us your first San Jose Sharks listen. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube as we're closing in on the 1,000 subscriber mark. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is you cover the season with more props, odds, and lines than before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay. So there is a little bit of Sharks news before we get into David Pastrnak. It does seem like, according to Elliot Friedman, that the Sharks are starting to narrow down their GM search. My gut feeling is they're probably were waiting for someone to finish their season, whether it be with the Rangers, the Lightning, or the Colorado Avalanche, to really kind of kick this into the next level. And if you're hiring from one of those three franchises, I'm really excited because the Rangers really did a great job going through the rebuild. And I know that team is, that kind of general management team and front office team isn't with them, but they put the pieces in play for this Rangers team that we saw that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And although they did lose and, they do need some more offense, you can see a lot of these young pieces are there and they're getting ready. Those guys are going to be good for a long time. So, and then Tampa Bay Lightning, who have going back to their third straight Stanley Cup Finals, and the Colorado Avalanche, who have been one of the most consistent teams in the past few years, and really kind of finally put it all together this year. But if you're getting someone from them, it seems like they're going to be getting someone who is a first-time GM. So if you're plucking off of those trees and getting ready to start your own, I'm perfectly happy with that. And the fact that they haven't really moved on much is making me think that that's where they're heading, is hiring someone from one of these organizations who have kind of shown that they can put together a championship caliber team. So if as soon as the Sharks know more, I'll know more, and I'll be more than happy to kind of give my take on it. But good signs here. I don't think I know your Ray Whitneys and all these guys are still in the mix, but if I was a betting man, I would put my money on one of these guys that are going to be from either the Rangers, the Avs, or from the Lightning. But let's talk about David Pastrnak. So came out on the Athletic, Fluto Shinzawa. I'm really sorry. I know I butchered that name. He had an article that come out last week, basically saying that with the current Boston Bruins general manager, Don Sweeney, David Pastrnak doesn't want to resign with the Bruins if Sweeney is still in charge. Pastrnak saw the way that his friends were treated in Torrey Krug and David Krejci, where basically Sweeney didn't really make much of a effort to try to re-sign these guys, and Pastrnak is feeling maybe that this team has run its course. They do have a lot of questions with potentially Patrice Bergeron retiring. It's kind of like the Sharks were a few years ago, where really old core that's kind of went through, its natural cycle and is probably going to be looking towards the future here really soon. And, they might be looking to kind of tear it down and rebuild it. And if they decide to do that, David Pastrnak is the crown jewel of their rebuild, trying to, at least in terms of assets. And if you're not familiar with one David Pastrnak, he's as a kid said, he's #good. So just kind of give you a little update or review of where Pastrnak is right now. He right winger, he just turned 26, so he's just entering his prime. Last year he had 40 goals, 37 assists, and he's got 1 year, $6.6666 million remaining on his cap. Pastrnak is a legitimate 40 goal scorer, potential 40 goal scorer every year. He's already done it twice he's done it twice, and he's gotten close a couple other times. So this year he had 40 goals in 72 games. In the 1920 season that got cut short, he won the Rocket Richard with 48 goals in 70 games that year. Then he's had a 38 goal season and a 35 goal season as well. So he is a legitimate scoring punch the Sharks just do not have on their roster right now. I mean, that 1920 season that got cut short, he had 95 points in 70 games. If they had played a full season, he would have gotten to 100 points, And this year, he played 72 games out of 82. So, and getting 77 points, he's a point per game producer and he scores. And that's just something the Sharks just currently do not have on their roster. Somebody who can score like this. It's, looking at his fancy stats here. So 96 percentile player, 96 percentile offense, and defense, he's 62 percentile. So again, you're not sending him to play defense, but he's not hurting you on defense. Total goals above replacement, he had over 12 goals above replacement. So what that means is he's adding 12 more goals than a replacement level player, and his expected goals is 11. So he just provides so much more offense, helps you on your power play. He is a legitimate star that the Sharks just don't have, at least when it comes to scoring, the scoring. And adding Pastrnak would be a huge move for the Sharks. We'll get to what it would actually do for the Sharks here and how that would actually affect the Sharks and kind of really change their core. But first, let's go ahead and take a quick break, talk to you about our friends over at Athletic Greens. If you want to kind of take care of yourself a little bit better, make sure work on your energy, work on your immune system, work on your gut health, that's where Athletic Greens comes in. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all of these things. And it's important to take multivitamins because they help with your body. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. One thing you can do every single day to take care of yourself. And your subscription comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which is important to add. The great thing about it is the price. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's also cheaper than buying all the supplements yourself, and you're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. So head over to their website. Actually go to athleticgreens.com/NHL network. And when you do that, you'll get a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Again, all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health, pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Friends, we have an important favor to ask. We're putting together a survey so we can learn more about our listeners like you and make your favorite Locked On podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On Podcasts. So go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. It won't take very long, and everyone that completes the survey can qualify for a chance to win up to 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience survey, go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Thanks for your help. Okay. Adding David Pastrnak is a very smart move from the Sharks. I know, we talked about they should be acquiring draft picks and trying to rebuild, et cetera, but David Pastrnak is a legitimate like superstar in the NHL. Okay. And if you add him to your team, it makes all your other players around you better, and it takes pressure off the Sharks players. Like, it doesn't have to be just a Timo Meier, Tomas Hertl show, right? It allows players to slot in to their positions more naturally, right? So if you add Pastrnak to your team, you could do a super line of like Hertl, Timo, Pasta, which would literally be one of the best lines in all the NHL. Or it allows you to diversify your bonds, as Wu-Tang Clan once said. You can have an actual legitimate second line that can actually provide scoring punch. So if you traded for Pastrnak, you could run a line of Hertl and Pastrnak and Eklund. That's pretty spicy. And then your second line could be Couture, Timo Meier. Then you could do Barabanov. You could do Balcers. You could do LeBanc. You could whoever. You could do Dahlin. And then your third line, you could if you want to keep the kids line together of the Balcers, Bordelot, Gregor line that was really fun last season, you could do that. And then you could have like Nick Bonino on your fourth line. If Nick Bonino's on your fourth line, that's not the worst thing in the world. You could have like a Nick Bonino, Scott Reedy, whoever like on the fourth line. Like, it allows your players to be slotted in and they're more natural fits. And then it helps your power play, which has been not that great, to be honest. Like, you can run a power play with Timo Meier and David Pastrnak, which would be insane, right? And then having Hertl in the middle, like kind of playing the bumper position, Erik Karlsson up top, like, and then again, it allows guys to not have to play kind of a punch above their weight. Where we saw Barabanov, like Barabanov's a perfectly fine player, but like he's more of a middle six role type of guy, and having him on your second team, and then like you could actually kind of help to spread out your team, your players and their roles and their positions, and not having to rely on like if William Eklund, if you don't have to expect William Eklund to just jump in and be a star, and he can kind of grow into his role more. And the great thing about Pastrnak, he just turned 26, so like, if you get him and then you re-sign him to a contract, you're getting him through his prime. You could basically get him for the next 9 years if they gave him an 8-year contract as soon as he walks in the door. But you could get him for the next 9 seasons, which would put him through his, so age 26, age 27, age 28, age 29, age 30. So you're getting at least five prime seasons of Pastrnak. And then you can 31, 32, 33, 34. Then you can kind of, if you get 5 prime seasons and like 3 really good seasons, sign me up for that. Like David Pastrnak, he could fit in with your guys, and then like you would still have Hertl, Timo, Pasta. Then you have your Bordelots and your Eklunds and your Robins and your Gushins and all these other guys who are going to be starting to come up here soon. Like he reopens your timeline, right? Of having a guy who can be a legitimate 40 goal scorer. The Sharks haven't had a legitimate, I know Timo had 35 last year on a bad season, but like how much of that was just Hertl and Timo having to do it? So imagine if Timo's scoring 35 goals, Pasta scores 40, Hertl's getting you 25 to 30, Couture's getting you 20. If Eklund comes in and gets you, 10 or to 15 in his rookie season, Bordelot comes in and gets you another 10 to 15. LeBanc, if he's still on the team, if he can get you another, like that's where you need to add more scoring to this team. This team was 26 in average goals per game. They were 28th in total goals. 28th. Okay. That's bad. They were tied with like the Kraken. Like, I think they had one more goal than the Seattle Kraken, who were an expansion team. If you're new to sports, like they were abysmal at scoring goals. And I mean, playing defense and is awesome, but like you need to have actual real goal scorers. Or no, you need like a real goalie and like an elite goalie to be able to play like all these 1-2. If you score 2 goals, you win type of things. And the Sharks, they just don't have that. So last year, the Sharks scored 211 goals. That was 29th in the league. The Kraken had 210, the Flyers had 210, and the Coyotes are 206. Like all those teams, those are that's picks 3, 4, and 5 in the NHL draft. Then the Blackhawks, who was just had 213 goals, that was pick 6 that Columbus got. The Canadians had 218. That's pick number 1 overall. Like, having a sick defense is cool, but you know what else is cool? Like scoring goals. And David Pastrnak, if you get David Pastrnak, you become a legitimate like playoff threat. Like you can actually make the playoffs with David Pastrnak on your team. He is that good. All right, before we look at what it would cost the Sharks, let's take a quick break and talk to you guys about our friends over at BetOnline. You guys know BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, news, odds, including NBA finals, which are going on. Steph Curry, our king. NHL finals. I think the betting favorite is Avs in 6. So if you want to make some money, if you think it might be different, you can go there. You can actually bet on which team you think is going to win in each game, which game. They also have Major League Baseball, fighting news from MMA to UFC to boxing. BetOnline is your continuous source for your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. So head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the transaction. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so here's the thing, right? Boston's not just going to give them up. I know there will be basically 31 teams vying for David Pastrnak's services type of thing. So, and if he doesn't want to go to San Jose, he does have a little bit of say. He has a 10-team no trade list. But if he really doesn't want to be in Boston anymore, he's not going to be in Boston anymore type of thing. So the timeline's a little tricky, right? So in the Athletic article that I talked about earlier, they wanted to try to kind of get together, and feel like try to get together and start working on a new contract. And the kind of what they're looking at right now would be a 8-year, $68 million deal. It's kind of the going rate, I believe, is what it would be. So, but like, if the Bruins, the Bruins are kind of they're going to meet with him really soon before free agency started. So, but that's after the NHL draft. So if he was to get traded, I think the NHL draft would be like kind of the first major point. So if the Sharks wanted to trade for him, I mean, I think you have to look at least 2 potential first rounders. And I know talking about the 2023 draft and you giving up your lottery ticket to, potential Connor Bedard type of situation, but like David Pastrnak's really good, man. Like Pastrnak's going to be better than anybody you draft at number 11 right now. That's just, are we sure Shane Wright's going to be better than David Pastrnak? Maybe. I don't know. Is Logan Couture going to be better than David Pastrnak? Maybe. I don't know. Is Kevin Kuczynski going to be better than David Pastrnak? Probably not. Brad Lambert? Probably not. Like, I think that's the cause. Maybe you can get away with like a top 10 protected, like you put some sort of protections on it type of thing. But like, I think you'd offer 2 first rounds in a prospect because the Bruins prospect pool is not very great. Like they've got a couple guys here and there, but like if they're going to go into a full-on rebuild, they're going to be in asset collection mode. And while the Sharks, they have 11, they have next year's first round pick, and they have a pretty solid prospect pool. So, I think you could probably hammer out a deal. Getting him signed to that 8 years, $68 million is going to be you're going to have to do some cap gymnastics upcoming, especially with a Timo Meier deal. But with the prospects, like basically Eklund is untouchable. And if they want Bordelot, I think you think really long and hard about, maybe that's where you can get away with some of the protections, or you don't have to offer a second round pick where it's getting a guy who's kind of NHL ready. Again, you'd have to think long and hard because, as great as Bordelot is, we like Bordelot. Bordelot is never going to be as good as David Pastrnak is, man. It's just, I don't see Bordelot being a 40-goal scorer type of thing and potentially, a 100-point type of player, which we saw David Pastrnak nearly was a couple of years ago. So, I think Pasternak's a special player that adding him changes your franchise. And I think having him, Timo Meier, and Hertl kind of all in the same kind of age range and all really kind of hit in their peaks right now, you'd have to do some work around the fringes and stuff like that. But like you're cooking there if you can able to pull this off. And, we don't know who the GM is going to be or anything like that. And if it's Joe Will or whatever, but like, if a new GM wants to come in and make a statement day one type of thing, trading for David Pastrnak, like this could be the Sharks for the 2020 version of the 2022 version of your Joe Thornton trade, where it's you take the franchise into a whole new direction with this. And again, it's not like Pasternak's like 30. He just turned 26. Like you're getting a player who's just hitting his prime right now. And again, if you want to compete with, you got Edmonton who made the Final Four. Vegas is still going to be good with Jack Eichel and Mark Stone and stuff like that. The Kings are going to be better next year. The Ducks are going to be better. Like there's actually going to be competition in the Pacific. And if you really want to make that jump and try to really set up your retool or your rebuild, I guess not a rebuild, but if you really want to reset where the Sharks are, getting a legitimate superstar in David Pastrnak is the way to go. And again, I don't see the 11th pick, whoever you pick at 11 this year, being better than David Pastrnak. So we'll see. Again, just to be fun. Plus, you get the Hertl Pasta, Czech connection. Maybe he reaches out to him, be like, hey, I think you look good in teal. So that's gonna be it for me today. In summary, the Sharks should try to acquire David Pastrnak. He good. I will be back tomorrow with a super awesome secret guest. I don't want to say it was just because there's a small chance things might fall through, but I'm like fairly confident it's a big one. So make sure you guys check me out there. So you can find if everything goes together, I'll have a nice little teaser for you guys Monday night for it. So make sure you're subscribing Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, so you can make sure I actually got my super secret guest. And then we've got more draft profiles coming out this week. I've got Tony is coming back, and then Paul as well. So we have 2 draft profiles. So those will be Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, a live stream on Thursday, where I will be most likely, because it looks like I'll probably get to 900 subscribers by then, giving away three of the fan appreciation jerseys that the Sharks gave out the second to last home game of the year or something like that. So I have 3 of them. So make sure you guys are subscribing on YouTube, please. It really, really does help me out. The goal is to get to 1,000 before the draft. I think I got like 110 to go in 24 days. You guys, somebody do the math. That's like 5 subscribers a day. So if you are listening, please do so. If you have like fake accounts, go subscribe on YouTube. Just help me get there. Trying to get to 1,000 before the draft. So, and then go check. You can also listen to the show if you want to do that as well. Locked On Sharks, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, YouTube, Locked On Sharks, March to 1,000. And go check out the Locked On NHL show if you want to learn more about the playoffs. Get ready for the finals, which are set. And I'll be back tomorrow. Bye, friends.